Good day, here are the headlines from the Philippine News Agency. We start with international support for Manila as the leaders of the G7 nations are the latest to condemn China's aggression towards the Philippines in the South China Sea. The group also supported commitments towards rules-based order and the rule of law amid China's enforcement of its latest Coast Guard rule against foreign vessels. Bench Bondok has our top story.
The Philippines on Monday night hailed the Group of Seven or G7 leaders for opposing what it described as China's baseless and excessive claims in the South China Sea. In a statement, the Department of Foreign Affairs thanked the G7 for calling out China over its illegal and dangerous activities against Philippine vessels. The DFA also welcomes the group's commitment to uphold rules-based international order and the rule of law in the South China Sea and the rest of the world. It also expressed solidarity with the G7's vision of a stable and secure Indo-Pacific region, as well as the commitment to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the 2016 Arbitral Award. In a communique issued on June 14, the G7, consisting of Canada, France, the United States, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, opposed China's dangerous use of Coast Guard and maritime militia in the South China Sea. The group also slammed China's use of intimidation and its repeated obstruction of the freedom of navigation of other countries. In the same statement, the DFA rebuked China for enforcing its country's laws on the territory of other countries, particularly the Philippines' maritime zones. The DFA is referring to Beijing's new law enacted on June 15, allowing its Coast Guard to board, inspect, and detain foreign vessels in waters that China claims as under their jurisdiction for up to 60 days. On Monday, Chinese vessels rammed and towed Philippine boats holding a regular resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre in the Ayungin Shoal. U.S. Ambassador to the Philippines Mary Kay Carlson, as well as the ambassadors of France, Japan, the Netherlands, and the European Union, has since condemned China's aggression. For the Pna Headlines, I'm Bench Bondo.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is targeting to personally bring help to at least 82 provinces that were gravely affected by El Niño. In a Bagong Pilipinas Ngayon interview, Task Force El Niño spokesperson and Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary Joey Villarama says the President has vowed to help these provinces while fisherfolk and farmers are recovering from the extreme heat. Villarama said the President plans to go to these provinces at least every week and personally distribute aid especially to the affected farmers and fishermen. Recently, President Marcos distributed financial aid worth about 200 million pesos and agricultural machines to residents in Cagayan Valley who were affected by El Niño. This is on top of the financial aid from the Department of Labor and Employment and the Department of Social Welfare and Development, and other forms of support included training allowances from TESDA. The remains of the 3 Filipinos who died in the June 12 apartment fire in Kuwait returned home on Monday. Relatives of the 3 overseas workers received their remains at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, while accompanied by Overseas Workers Welfare Administration Chief Arnel Ignacio and Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Cacdac. Earlier, Ignacio briefed the families on what happened and the status of the investigation by Kuwaiti authorities. Ignacio says the apartment in Al Mangaf, Kuwait City that burned down was the accommodation building for the workers of a construction company. 11 Filipinos were affected, with 2 still in critical condition. The OWA assured the fatalities' families that they would get all the benefits due them as soon as possible. For its part, the DMW said its legal team in Kuwait is studying whether to take legal action based on the result of the investigation. In other news, the country's rice inventory has increased as of May 1 this year, exceeding the stocks in the same month last year. Records from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed the country's rice stock has reached 2.08 million metric tons. This is a yearly increase of 10.3% from the 1.88 million metric tons stocked on May 1 last year. This is also higher by 11.8% compared to the inventory last April of 1.86 million metric tons. In a related matter, commercial stocks of rice increased by 45% from last year. As for last May's inventory, 55% came from households, 41.6% was from the commercial sector, while 3.3% came from the National Food Authority's depositories. Caritas Philippines appeals to the Catholic faithful to help communities in Negros Island that were affected by the eruption of Mount Kanlaon. Father Carmelo Caluwag, Executive Director of the humanitarian arm of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, appealed for help in the form of cash or in-kind donations on behalf of the dioceses of San Carlos, Bacolod, and Kabangkalan in Negros Occidental and the Diocese of Dumaguete in Negros Oriental. Speaking to church-run Radio Veritas, Caluwag says the residents need face masks, food and drinking water, as the effects of the eruption of Mount Kanlaon are unlikely to end soon. Mount Kanlaon remains under alert level 2, signifying increasing unrest. Some 833 families or over 2,700 individuals are still staying in evacuation centers 2 weeks since the volcano's eruption. The government, through the Department of Social Welfare and Development, had already distributed 25.8 million pesos worth of assistance to affected communities. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, please visit our website, pna.gov.ph, or our Facebook and Dex account, Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account via the News and Information Bureau website, nib.gov.ph under Pna News, or on the Facebook page of the Presidential Communications Office or PCO. I am Marita Muahe, and this is the Pna Headlines, bringing stories that unite the nation.